afternoon and welcome to Magnificent Macaws. My name is Kelsey. I'm one of the macaw trainers here at the zoo. And throughout this presentation, you're going to get to meet a few other trainers as well. So definitely keep your eyes out for them. We are so excited to be able to showcase the beautiful birds that you're about to see. Birds are some of the most diverse creatures on this planet, from the way that they fly to the way that they find their food. They can be found across all different ecosystems on every continent on Earth. And because they can be found absolutely everywhere, they have a lot of different adaptations to survive. Adaptations are characteristics that allow an animal to survive and thrive in their environment. And so to start with today, to show this off, we decided to show you guys some of the most unique birds that we have here at this zoo. Now these birds might come up and interact with you guys, which is perfectly fine. We just ask that you stay still, and also if you're seated on the ground, please make sure that you sit crisscross applesauce, because that way they don't possibly trip over your legs, because despite looking very graceful, our Caribbean flamingos right here are in fact extremely clumsy and fall over basically anything in their path. This is Squishy and Squash, Caribbean flamingos. Now they can be found throughout the Caribbean as well as southern Florida, and they have the zoomies this morning showing off just how they would run around and stretch out their wings when they have a little bit of energy going on in the morning. Now flamingos have a lot of adaptations for surviving around oceans and mudflat type environments. They have those big paddle feet that you see as they're running around. They use those to stir up the sediment under the water, which stirs up some of their food sources. These guys are omnivores, which means they eat plants and animals, and it means that we have something in common with flamingos because we're omnivores as well. So despite the fact that we look completely different, we still do have something in common, and that is pretty cool. These guys are also filter feeders, which means that they stick their head under the water and then they stir up that sediment and all the food and they pull the food in the water into their beak. Then they move their tongue really, really quickly, up to 4 times a second, and that pushes the water out of their beak so they can ingest the food that's left inside. It is true in part that the food that flamingos eat give them that beautiful coloration. However, no matter how many blueberries you try and feed a flamingo, they are never going to turn blue. They are always going to be some form of pink. But the carotenoids that they eat make them a much brighter, more vivid coloration of pink that you see right there on our 2 flamingos as they're walking around. You might have heard them making some calls while they've been out here as well. They sound a little bit like a goose. And every single flamingo has their own unique call, which is really important because these guys live in flocks of up to tens of thousands of individuals. And so their mate and their chick can tell them apart just by hearing their own call. Just like that. He's making that call for you right now so you can hear it. Looking at these flamingos, do you guys think that they can fly? No? Yes? Well, actually they are fantastic flyers, but it's a great guess because they look rather ungainly, right? Very, very tall birds. But they do have the ability to fly really, really well. However, there is a difference between how our flamingos would take off for flight versus how that sparrow that you just saw fly by would take off. Most birds, they just take off from wherever they're sitting and there's no problem. Flamingos, however, need a long, straight runway to get a running start to get that big body up off the ground. Looking at those guys again, do you have a guess how much they might weigh? You can just yell out numbers. Any guesses? 15, that's a great guess. Any others? 25, awesome. So these guys only weigh about 5 to 10 pounds. And that's incredible. They can be almost 6 feet tall, but they have what's known as hollow bones. They're not actually hollow. They have an almost honeycomb-like shape in them, but they have a lot of air pockets in them to help them be so light, because they do still need to be able to fly throughout the air. So that's pretty incredible that they weigh so little for the size that they are. Now, flamingos did a great job showing us adaptations for birds that like to live around the oceans and mudflats. But our next bird that's going to come out actually prefers to live their life on the ground. And because they prefer to live their life on the ground, they have a lot of different adaptations for navigating through the different obstacles they might face. They might have to jump or hop over some logs. They might need to go through some natural tunnels made out of bushes, and they might even need to dodge and weave in and out between some rocks. So in order to show how our bird would navigate through these different obstacles, I could use the help of a bird trainer up here. Anybody want to be a bird trainer today? You want to come up? Yeah, we've got a little step right here. Right there. Hi. What's your name?
Lauren.
Lauren? Nice to meet you, Lauren. I have an important question for you. How do you feel about holding bugs? Yuck. That's okay. I also have some pellet. Does that look better? Pellet looks better? Okay. So Lauren, I'm going to give you some of this food, and then I'm going to ask you to hold on to this in your fist, okay? Right here. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to close your hand around that, and then when I tell you to, you're going to put your hand just like this in front of the tunnel. That's going to be the cue to our bird to make her way through here. Now, after that, you can give her some of the food. Yep, she's ready. And then once we do that, we'll do the same thing over here. Does that sound good? All right, Lauren, are you ready to meet your bird? Yeah. Your bird today is Nobby the chicken. Nobby is a golden sea-bright chicken, and she looks like she's a baby, right? She's just a very small breed of chicken. So this is as large as she's ever going to get. Now Nobby has these long, strong toes right here, Lauren. Those help her to dig into the ground to find insects. But once again, just like our flamingo and like us, Nobby is an omnivore, meaning she eats those plants and animals. And it looks like she's doing a good job going in and out between these different weave poles here. Do you want to see if she's ready for the tunnel? Okay, go ahead and give her that cue with your fist right out there. And let's see what Nobby thinks. She's looking at me real close. She knows I have really yummy food. So I'll move over here. Let's see if she sees that cue. There we go. Awesome. She's like, well, pellet isn't quite what she's looking for right now, so we'll give her some more of this. Now, do you guys think that Nobby can make it over those hurdles? Yeah? She's a pretty little chicken. So Lauren, let's see what Nobby thinks. Go ahead and give her that same cue again. We made it over the first. It's better to work smarter, not harder, right? We've done a great job up here. Can we get a big round of applause for our awesome bird trainers? Thank you so much for your help, Lauren. You can go back to watch Nobby's finale. The step's right over there if you want to use that. Now, it's really cute and a lot of fun to do these different behaviors with our chicken up here on stage. The reason we're able to show you guys these behaviors is because we do a type of training here known as positive reinforcement training. What that means is that every time the animal you're working with does something that you like, you reinforce them with something that they like. Every time they do something that you don't necessarily like, you just ignore it. It's a pretty simple idea behind training. And this idea allows you to grow a very strong relationship with your learner. Once you've built that strong relationship with your learner, you can ask for more complex behaviors, such as going into that crate that you see Sarah has right there. Nobby's learned that the crate door opening is a cue telling her it's time to make her way on in here. She's still looking at all of her surroundings right now, seeing all you guys out here. So sometimes we might need to make it a little bit easier for Nobby to make her way on back, and we'll give her more information. So giving your learner the chance to succeed is a really, really important part of positive reinforcement training. And the way you can do that is by giving them enough information so they know exactly what you're asking of them at any time. So she's learned that crate door opening is her cue to make her way on in. And it's really cute. Now the good news is that this positive reinforcement training isn't only useful for the animals here at the zoo. You can use it for anything that you can find something reinforcing for. This includes your pets at home. It includes your coworkers. It includes your husband, your wife, your children. Children, you can definitely train your parents. All you have to do is find what's most reinforcing for your learner. Now, our chicken has done a great job showing us how a ground bird would navigate their way through their environment, and our flamingo a great job at adaptations around oceans and mudflats. But I know for me personally, when I'm thinking about birds and their incredible adaptations, The one I'm most likely to be thinking about is that beautiful flight. So I think it's about time that we meet the best flyers that we have here at this zoo. Are you guys ready to meet the macaws? Yeah? That's perfect, because here at the Indianapolis Zoo, we have 3 different flocks of macaws. We have our racers flock, our pacers flock, and our pit crew flock. In total, 60 individual macaws that free fly over this zoo. Now, unfortunately for macaws out in the wild, they do face a lot of different threats. Threats such as deforestation and the illegal pet trade. These threats greatly decrease population numbers out in the wild, which is why it's so incredibly important. And we are so excited to see all you guys here at the zoo today, because with your support, just by coming to visit the zoo, the Indianapolis Zoo is able to partner with conservation organizations such as the World Parrot Trust and the Macaw Recovery Network. These organizations work with species that we have represented here in our flocks today that you'll be getting to meet very, very shortly. The Macaw Recovery Network, they work with great green macaws found out in Costa Rica. There's less than 1,000 great green macaws left in the wild. So what they've done is they've connected scientists all throughout South America to try and come up with a plan to help these birds sustainably live into the future. The other project that we work with is the World Parrot Trust. They work with blue-throated macaws found out in Bolivia. Now there's less than 250 individual blue-throated macaws left in the wild. So what they've done is they've actually created a sanctuary for these birds. And in that sanctuary, they're building nest boxes to try and increase their population numbers. Because we would all like to continue to protect and preserve the beautiful sight of these birds flying in big flocks out in the wild, just like you're about to see. In fact, if you start listening close, you just might hear them as they make their way through the zoo, because their aviary doors have been opened over half a mile away, and it typically only takes them about 45 seconds to make this beautiful flight. Incredible, right? Now we do have a lot of species represented up here on this perch right now. One of which is this incredible great green macaw right here. This is Coco, and she's one that the Macaw Recovery Network is working with out in Costa Rica. We also have these blue-throated macaws right here. This is Montana, and he's one that the World Parrot Trust is working with out in Bolivia. These guys are also showing you some really fantastic adaptations. One of which are their incredible beaks. These beaks have a lot of power behind them, and they can crack through some really, really tough nuts. Inside these beaks, they have a tongue that has a bone in it that they use to manipulate the food really, really effectively. So it's kind of like a hand in there. They have what's known as zygodactyl feet, which is a really long word. It very simply means 2 toes in the front and 2 toes in the back. But as cool as all these adaptations are, it is time to show you guys the coolest one of all, and that is to fly. It's a great sight, right? I am sorry, you guys over there, I did forget to tell you that if you duck, they just fly lower. Now, I know for me personally, seeing the incredible sights of these birds up here on this perch and flying through the zoo make me want to help them out in the wild, which is why I decided that when I go to the grocery store, I want to buy produce that's grown locally. That way I'm not potentially contributing to the deforestation happening in their native habitats. If you're interested in other ways that you can help macaws while you're here in Indianapolis, you can first off try and grow your own vegetable garden. Secondly, try to eat less meat. And third, buying produce grown locally and in season. We'd like to thank you guys so much for coming to visit us here today. We hope you have a great rest of your day here at the zoo. Goodbye, everyone.